Hey friends, this is Derek Bros, and I'm running for mayor of Houston. I just want to let you guys know about an event I went to this morning. It was at the Houston Building Owners and Managers Association, otherwise known as Houston BOMA, BOMA. And I posted on Facebook maybe about a month ago that I was invited to an event called Forum, The Rise of 5G. And I was initially invited to be speaking on this panel of three different individuals talking about 5G and the rise of 5G. I accepted and I said I was very interested to do this. And then shortly after, I was notified that there was not going to be room for me. And instead, the organization decided to invite Dwight Silverman, the tech editor of the Houston Chronicle, Jason Inskeep, who works as a computing specialist with AT&T, and Amandus Dare, who is with Crown Castle, another telecom connected company of the Texas 5G Alliance. So essentially, the event became just a pro 5G event, and I thought it was, not a good route to take. At the very least, because even though BOMA is a private organization, I still felt that it was important for them to let their audience know all the questions surrounding 5G, whether it's health concerns, privacy concerns, what have you. And I wanted to be a part of that. But again, they're a private organization. They can do as they please. So they decided not to have me there. So I went ahead today and I paid the $65 to attend this event, to go there, to hear what they presented. And it was essentially just an hour and 15 minutes of these three men speaking about why 5G is great and why the Building Owners and Managers Association should embrace it. And really nothing was brought up as far as health concerns, privacy concerns, loss of local power, any of the issues that I've talked about and that I've been researching for the last year. None of those things were brought up. I did get a chance to ask a question, which I'll show you in just a moment. But I do want to say this. When I initially was told no to this, that I was uninvited to this event, I let them know. I emailed Natalia Lara of the organization and said, I think you're making a mistake by not having me there. It looks like it's going to be a pro 5G event. Of course, the event ended up being sponsored by AT&T Business, so I guess it makes sense that they would uninvite me, somebody who has been critical of 5G. Now, this organization is also hosting a mayoral forum in a week or two, and I reached out to them and asked to be a part of that. And I was also told that once again, they are only going to let the 5 main candidates be a part of that. And so all I did was let Tammy Betancourt, who I think is the head of this organization, let her know via email that I was going to make the public aware of this, that if these organizations choose not to have all the candidates, that they are doing a disservice to Houstonians. Even if they're a private organization, I still think that they should do their constituents and their community a better job by inviting all the candidates. And I was told that they were not going to be able to do that. So I let Miss Betancourt know via email, I'm going to let the people know that. So when she saw me at the event, she came up to me and said, hi, I'm the one you threatened yesterday. And then she asked if she needed to call the cops if I was there to disrupt the event. I told her I was there to do no such thing, just to ask questions. But needless to say, the whole event was a bit tense. And once I started to ask questions, as you're going to hear in just a moment, Tammy came up on the side, the person who was moderating started to talk, and people were saying for me to be quiet, basically. I could hear murmurs in the background because this event was supposed to be a pro 5G event, and I raised concerns that people didn't want to hear about. So I just want to let you be aware of that. I'll let you judge the footage yourself and see for yourself, but I do think it's important to recognize that this is one of the members. The guy on the left is Dwight Silverman. He writes for the Houston Chronicle. The guy in the middle is Amandus Dare, who works with Crown Castle, and the other guy on the right is Jason Inskeep of AT&T. So they all work, in this industry. And when I talked to Mr. Silverman about these concerns, because as you'll see, he basically poo-poos them and say they're no big deal. He told me that, his focus is just on the technology, the equipment itself, not on the science or the health area. If there's any health concerns, he'll forward that to the health writer in the Chronicle. But I just think it's a little disingenuous to say that because he's out there promoting the new projects and new products and new gadgets. And if there are health concerns, he should probably let people know that. But that's it for now. I just want to share this footage with you. You can see what took me $65 and a couple hours of my time, and to go into a hostile situation and to basically be told that there's no reason to question 5G. But if you do have questions about 5G, I encourage you to continue supporting me. Check out derekbros.com. Check out my work on theconsciousresistance.com about 5G, and keep supporting however you can. Till next time, remember, you are powerful, you are beautiful, and you are free. Peace. Yes, my name is Derek Bros. I'm a journalist here in Houston. I have a radio show on 90.1. I'm also currently a candidate for mayor of Houston. And I've been researching 5G for the last year. I've interviewed experts from the ACLU talking about the privacy concerns to Dr. Martin Paul of Washington State University about the health concerns, none of which were mentioned today. I do know that the organization here, they ran a newsletter in the second quarter. Some of you may have read it, and it mentioned some of the health concerns and the FCC regulations and stipulations. You mentioned some of the trees blocking the pathway. Well, we do know that in Houston, we're going to have to lose a lot of trees in order for that, not just Houston, but elsewhere, in order for 5G to work. Mr. Dare, you also mentioned being involved in the Texas legislature. It is the Texas legislature, along with the federal legislature, which removed local power, making it where places like Houston and neighborhoods like Tanglewood, which were just a couple miles away, which are currently considering a lawsuit against Verizon, have no say in this matter. So it essentially puts companies like yours, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, Qualcomm, and others, and the CTIA, the telecom lobby, basically in control of the rollout. And we're talking to business owners, property managers. They potentially could see a loss of property values. People are already concerned about living near cell towers. Over here in Tanglewood, there's a tower within 80 feet of an elementary school. Yes, I'd like to hear your comment on this, is what I'm getting at, because these issues weren't brought up today.
Not a chance for you to lecture.
No, I'm trying to bring this information to your audience. You guys do have.
Rose, do you have a question?
I was getting to it. I'd like your comment on this, basically. How come these concerns aren't being brought up to an audience that probably their customer base would probably be interested to know?
So, to a certain, just my take on it, to a certain extent, they're not here to hear about that. They're here to hear about exactly how this is going to affect them as a business. There are other forums for that, such as the Texas legislature, the FCC. I would refer you to a really interesting article that ran in the New York Times in July by William J. Broad, who was a science writer for the New York Times, probably one of the best science writers in the country. And he talked about one of the earliest studies that people who have raised alarms about the health issues of wireless spectrum was actually seriously flawed. And in fact, this chart that has given birth to almost an entire industry of some of these concerns essentially had the data backwards. And that guy has kind of backed off on his own thing. It's analogous to what happened with the flawed autism and vaccine study that ultimately, you've gotten this entire thing about vaccines going.
But the health concerns don't come from one study.
Can I finish mine?
It's not one study, though. I just want to make that clear.
But a lot of the studies played off of his original data, and that's where that comes from. So I mentioned the fact that the signal from Verizon couldn't even get through the trees. It definitely ain't going to get through my skin. And that's part of the story, is that the guy who was doing these studies did it directly on brain matter, but skin blocks spectrum of these signals quite adequately. And so, I would advise you to read that. I would advise you all to read that. But, that's again, to a certain extent, this is off topic for this.
Well, I guess outside of the health concerns, my reason for bringing this up is because I just think business owners might be interested to know what their customers.
Mr. Rose, the questions for this symposium today were actually all developed by our audience. So we're sharing.
Thank you.